Shut up and sit down.
Hello, my friend. You are listening to the Dance Studio Scaled podcast, the number one place for innovative marketing, retention strategies, and business growth ideas made just for dance studio owners. Now, this isn't your average business podcast. We're here to shake things up, simplify the hustle, and focus on real, actionable insights. I'm your host, Jen Dalton, and after 30 years of running studios, coaching owners, and scaling businesses, I know one thing's for sure. There's no one size fits all in this industry. You've got the passion and I've got the tools to help you take it to the next level. So hit that subscribe button, grab a coffee, and let's scale your studio together. When you are listening to this, when you're tuning in, you may have already started back for term 2. If not, it could be imminent. And while things may have settled a little after the break, let's be honest, it never really slows down, does it? For me, it never did, which I loved. I loved thriving off that feeling, but there's always something to do. And you might still be getting inquiries. You might be still enrolling people, having trials, which I think is fantastic. It's still on and happening. And the students are back in class, but I'm just really hoping that they're feeling refreshed after a well-earned break. And being real, I think it's just as important, the break for you and your team as well, because it's such a big term 1. I actually was having a conversation with one of the studio owners in my mastermind who's in Queensland, and she was saying, when the cyclone hit and they were shut down for, I think it was 4 to 5 days, depending where you were in Queensland. She said just the timing of that was so good. It forced everyone to stop. It forced everyone just to take a breather and slow down. And it really refreshed them for the second part of the term. And there's really something in that, I think. Not practical, I totally get that, but it is nice. And so hopefully you have had a chance to really have a break and recoup, ready to take term 2 head on. Now, depending on what your calendar looks like for your studio, you could be prepping for a mid-year performance, you could be gearing up for exams, comp season starting, you may even be into your costume ordering already. There's just always something coming around the corner. And while we can't slow the studio down entirely, we can just get better at how we manage it. And that's what today's episode is all about. It's how to stay on track with your goals, with your plans, and your leadership, even when everything around you feels urgent. Because it's easy to slip into reactive mode at this time of year. But with a few simple strategies and mindset shifts, you can stay focused, you can stay calm, and have that feeling of control, even when things are busy. But what I've learned from both my own experience and from coaching other studio owners every week is staying on track doesn't require a full restructure. So it doesn't require more time in your day or a whole brand new strategy, throw that idea out, it doesn't work, let's start from scratch. It really just requires a shift in how you approach the week and a few really simple, repeatable habits that will help you to block out the noise and focus on what's actually moving the needle. So let's talk about how to stay on track even when everything else feels really urgent. Okay, the first thing is to reframe what urgent really means. So let's just start here, because this one mindset shift will change the way you approach your week. Not everything that feels urgent is actually important. Now, urgency is often driven by emotion, by someone else's timeline, or by that little spike of pressure that we feel. Maybe you get an email or a complaint or a message, and you feel like it needs a response. And I literally had this week. I've received several emails from a studio owner who bought the AI Dance Business Assistant when it first launched at the end of last year. And what's happened is, because of all the work I've been doing, we upgraded the security and the privacy settings. But for those who bought it last year, they've just have to do two extra steps to enable them to continue to work with their GPTs, right? So it's a little bit different to the membership. And I've sent out the emails, and most people There were a few people that had issues, but we're able to sort them out really quickly. I keep replying and I sending fresh emails to this person. I don't even know her name. It's just an initial. And she's not getting the messages, and she keeps jumping on saying, it's not working. This isn't what you promised me. I didn't sign up for this. And I'm panicking because I'm like, no, I'm not trying to rip you off. Nothing's changed. This is what I'm trying to communicate. I'm trying to find you. I can't find her online. I can't find what studio she's attached to. So I'm freaking out. So what I'm saying is, as the minute the email comes in from her, I'm straight back on to respond to see, I don't know, if she gets it. I've sent from several different emails. If you're listening to this, please maybe send me an email with a phone number or the studio contact so I can email you directly, because I really do want to sort this out for you. I promise it's very simple steps that you need to do. I just need to get the information to you. So yeah, please, hopefully you're listening. Anyway, that was a bit of a side note. But anyway, so what I'm talking about is just reframing that of what urgency means. So when you start the day or even start the week, ask yourself, what is actually truly important? What's going to move me and my studio forward? And that's just a really good place to start. Okay. Number 2 is to go back to your quarterly focus. So this is something we spoke about last week, is having, that quarterly plan. And it's why quarterly plans matter so much, because when you've already done the work to identify your 1 to 3 main goals for the term, or your focus for the term, then you've got an anchor to return back to. So at this point, you can pause, you can take a breath and go back to your quarterly plan and ask, what did I say that was important for this term? And then ask, okay, now what's one step I can take towards that this week? And it doesn't have to be a big task. Sometimes it's something as simple as checking in with a team member about a goal, or blocking 30 minutes to say start your newsletter, or scheduling a planning session that you've been putting off. Number 3 is to use a simple weekly check-in. Now, this is one of the most powerful habits I see in high-performing studio owners, and that's every week they just carve out a small amount of time, 10, 15 minutes, just for themselves and to check in. For me, I've actually been doing this on a Sunday. Now, I'm not promoting to work on a Sunday, just right at the moment in my season of life, it is working beautifully. I'm actually really enjoying working on a Sunday because I have a lot less distractions. I'm not worried about responding to emails coming in, or, managing my clients or having our one-on-one calls, because Sundays quite peaceful and I get a lot of work done. But I've been doing this check-in, this plan forward, this look back on a Sunday, and starting my week is so different when I do this. Like, I really feel like I'm ahead of the game come Monday morning. And so the questions that I ask, and I encourage you to ask yourself, is what moved me forward last week? What distracted me? And what's one thing I want to complete or protect time for this week? Now, you can jot this down in a notebook. You could use a voice note. You could type your answers into your AI Dance Business Assistant, and it'll keep track of it for you. The point is, when you build that routine and rhythm of checking in, you stop relying on motivation and you start to build momentum. And that's a beautiful place to be. Okay, moving on to number 4 is blocking your time, even if it's just loosely. Now, you don't need a color-coded calendar to make this work, even though I love my color-coded calendar. But if you don't need it, you just need to give your important work a home and time. So block a window in your week for the work that matters. And so this could look like Monday mornings are for team check-ins. Tuesdays are for marketing and enrollment follow-ups. Fridays are for CEO time or planning. You could have your Thursdays could be for checking outstanding payments, any bills, your finances. You might only have 30 minutes, but protecting that time will give you more focus than trying to squeeze it in between classes and emails. And another thing that I find for me personally, so this may work for you, may resonate with you or not, these particular tasks I'm better off doing first thing in the morning, because they're ones that I can just do, achieve and cross off my list before I actually move into the other stuff. Otherwise, if it's too late in the afternoon, I find that I'm getting a bit weary, I will put it off. And so that's why I just move these things to the beginning of the day. That might work for you as well. I don't know. Give it a try. Okay, now number 5 is to create a not now list. Now, this is one of the biggest things that can derail our focus, and that's having new ideas constantly pop into your head. We are creatives. This is what we do. We're entrepreneurs, we're business owners, we're like living in, I think, in an incredible space in this world. And you know, life is so short, and I just feel so lucky to be in this place. But that comes with consequence, right? So you've probably heard of the shiny disco ball syndrome, because we're just like constantly like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. You want to launch a new program, or you suddenly remember, oh, that's right, I wanted to update that form, or you get inspired by something that you saw online. I hear you, people. This is me as well. And you want to capture that idea, but you just don't want to act on it yet. So keep a not now list. Keep it somewhere where it's visible. So every time that a new idea comes up, add it there. And then at the end of the week or the month or quarter, whenever it fits for you, you then can decide what to do with it. So for me, I literally have a folder on my desktop, and it's just got ideas to implement, and I just will open that file, and I'll just add to that file. So it's a long list now, but funnily enough, you know, half the stuff never happens anyway, but at least I get it out of my head onto a document. And then what it really does, it just gives you permission to stay focused without losing any of those good ideas along the way. Okay, number 6 is to use AI to lighten the load. Now, if you've been around for a while, you will know that I talk about AI a lot. Honestly, it is such a game changer, and the studio owners who are in our Dance AI membership are seeing this firsthand. Because when everything feels urgent, the fastest way to create breathing space is to get support. And that's exactly what AI tools across the board can provide. You know, you can use AI to draft like really tricky parent emails, to create newsletter outlines, write job descriptions or role descriptions for your team, generate reminders for your concert, put your concert running orders together, mapping out mini launches or events that you might be having at your studio. All these things usually sit on your plate for far too long, but when you can delegate them or use AI to simplify, it just frees up your time. It frees up your headspace. And then you can focus on the fun stuff, like growing your business or increasing your enrollments, like the stuff that you really want to do, right? Okay, and now we're moving on to number 7, and that's to give yourself permission to do less, but just do it better. Now, there's a lot of pressure in studio life to do it all, saying yes to every request, responding quickly, being across everything. But here's what I want you to remember. Success doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing the right things really well. And studio owners who are growing sustainably aren't necessarily working more hours. They're making better choices with their energy. This is like a revelation when this like occurred to me and like dawned on me. I mean, it's obviously not a new concept, but when I understood what that meant. And so if you need to let go of a task this week, or say no to a new idea, or give something 80% instead of 100%, it's not failure. It's just how you're being a true leader and running a business and running your studio and keeping connection with your families. That's giving yourself permission just to do less, but just to do it better. Okay, and finally, we move on to number 8, which is to surround yourself with accountability. You don't want to do this alone. You shouldn't be doing this alone. This is why communities are so important, and communities look like something different to each of us. We've got Facebook communities. You might be in a paid community. You may be in some sort of mastermind or coaching program. You may just have a group of business besties that aren't even industry related. It doesn't matter what it looks like, but just being around people who get it makes a huge, huge difference. Say your goals out loud, share what you're working on, and just let someone check in with you, because you don't need more pressure, you need support. And when you've got that, everything then feels a little bit easier, right? Yes. Okay, so to wrap up, here's the truth. There will always be noise. Like, studio life is full of moving parts. We're dealing with human beings. Like, humans are complicated. So we're dealing with that. But when you have a system, you have a support network and a mindset that puts progress over perfection, then you will stay on track. Even when things get busy, even when you're tired, and even when everything feels really urgent, you're still going to move forward. All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening today. I hope this episode has given you something practical that you can take into the week ahead. And if you're ready for more support, if you want more clarity, you want some more breathing room in your studio business, then I'd love to help you. And that could look like being part of our community inside the mastermind, or maybe even being part of our community within the Dance AI membership. Either way, please send me a DM on Instagram and I will get back to you with any information. But looking forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Dance Studio Scaled podcast. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other studio owners who would love it too. And let's keep the conversation going. Follow me on Instagram at Jen Dalton for more tips, insights, and behind the scenes moments to help you simplify and scale your studio. Until next time, keep dreaming big and taking action. I'll see you back here soon.